everyone to the State Farm Analyst Desk as we continue the final day for Group A. Cloud9 and Rogue who take to the Rift in only a few moments in a must-win match for both teams. In fact, for C9, it is simply do or die. Rogue, however, can still lose and make it work, but since we know who both of these teams are up against after this, that is going to be incredibly hard. But I do have Raz here, who is the LCS expert, who is going to talk to us about C9. And Raz, as I understand it, you want to look at the FPX game that they played in the first round robin to show us both the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Yes, that's my palms are sweaty here, Shocks, because it comes down to this game for Cloud9. And so we'll talk about the goods, the bads. I think a lot of people have looked at the negatives here for Cloud9. But the positives that I've seen with this team is that they are a playmaking squad. When they went up against FPX, you saw this play that they were able to make through mid, how they were able to convert it into a positive win there for Blaber. This happens quite consistently domestically for Cloud9, and it's something you want to see from them, because one good thing that I saw specifically from Perkz was the fact that he was able to not only get that lead, carry it towards the top lane. That happened in this very same game that we saw versus FPX. It also happened versus Damwon when he was able to work with Blaber to then go into the jungle, go into the Raptor camp, fight Canyon. This is what we want to see from Cloud9 if they want to see success.
It's what we've said the whole year, right? When it goes like up and down, say like, oh, we want that mid jungle to be stable, to be able to be proactive. I think there's also something to be said for not leaving your top lane on an island when the matchup isn't going that well or it's designed as such. But that FPX game was a great example of how proactive Cloud9 can be. But now it comes to that end game of FPX. What do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, the problem is the communication or just not being aligned as a team. Because in the play that you're seeing here, you're going to be seeing Camille in the bot lane, right? He doesn't have TP, but Cloud9 has a lead. Maybe they can start pressuring slowly. But you also see on the top side of the map that Vulcan is trying to make a play separately with Perkz. So then why are we contesting for Vision in the river when you don't have TP in the bot lane and he's slow to move here? That's fine. And you're also making a separate play topside. You just need to work as a team. And this has just been a constant thing that when we look in North America from Cloud9 that sees them losing games, right? If they find a lead, it can start to really squabble because of these plays that happen quite consistently. So for me, be on the same page.
Also, they were up against FPX, right? Who is the best team at turning things around when it's not going their way. This time they're up against Rogue, and Rogue also hasn't had the best start in this tournament. One game picked up over C9, hopeful performances from Hansama in the bot lane, but also a lot of question marks, right? That top lane being one of them.
A lot of question marks, but I still like what I see here. For me, it's Larssen. When Larssen went up against Cloud9 on his Twisted Fate, he was a real difference maker, honestly shutting down what Perkz wanted to do. And then also the same could be said for looking at the top side for Odoamne. They have great players. I mean, you've seen this team, their road throughout the full year, and it gives them such success, and you also just want to see them play around the greatness of Hansama in the bot lane.
And what works, indeed. Yeah. A tall order, a lot on the line in this matchup, and so it's also time to see what everyone at home thinks. We're going to check in on our MasterCard fan predictions. Rogue barely edging it out with 58.6% of the votes. I feel like this reflects what many of us feel. Because it's such an important game, I couldn't call it.
Yes, it's tough.
Are you gonna call it?
I got my oxygen mask on, got the NA Hopium.
Okay.
Cloud9, I know it's a must win. I'm going to send my energy in that direction and want the full North American region to do the same.
I think that is fair from the side of Raz. Both teams up against it. It's time to join our casters in the arena to see if whether Cloud9 or Rogue will come out victorious.
Thank you very much, Shocks. We're here in the arena, in the midst of picks and bans. We're dropping hot, folks. It's coming in quick. All of us together. COVID can't keep us apart, baby. Welcome to the desk.
I've been quarantined for like an hour and a half just drinking coffee the whole time, so
that's what we need.
So what's more hype, Kobe with no sleep or Kobe on 10 coffees?
I think I'm gonna get a little shaky with this one. Let's get into the picks and bans though, baby. Yuumi right off the table. Love to see that.
And Nami as well, right? Just to deny the Lucian Nami from Hans, right? His Lucian was phenomenal against them. He almost solo carried the game. The next biggest point of contention is MF, so C9 are going to first pick Leona for it.
And I think it's great that both of them are focusing on the bottom lane, because that is going to be one of the biggest determining factors for these two teams. You mentioned Hans. This man has been playing out of his mind. I think best player on this team so far performing in group stage. Going to be very big for bottom side control of the map, but here we go with the early Ryze.
Interesting early Ryze denial if they do decide to lock it in, to deny it from Perkz, who's got 2 Ryze games. Obviously, he was split pushing a lot against FPX. They could have won the game perhaps, but A lot of
soon.
happy little accidents is what we'll call it. The thing is, Ryze is a short-range mid-lane mage, of course, and is very strong over side lanes. The problem is he could struggle against champs like Syndra if Perkz does choose to do so because of the range difference. Now, jungle is another big point to look at. Things like Xin Zhao, we've seen Blaber's Qiyana, we've seen Inspired's Qiyana.
But
Is that locked in?
That's locked in, baby.
Yes.
All right. Now there's one champion. It's the Blaber's, whatever about anybody else. That's Hansama Draven. That is an OG Hansama special since the Challenger series. This man is known for this pick, and it is especially powerful and ban-worthy in the meta. This is going to be big for C9. They have to weather the storm.
And I wonder if they're going to third pick Braum if this MF gets locked in, Kobe.
Yeah, it's really good at denying the ultimate. Obviously, Unbreakable is so strong at countering. And plus, when you go in on the Leona, you have stand aside on Draven, Braum jumps in, puts up the wall. It's just very good at setting up for these early executions to get the cash in for Draven already. I am scared.
Yeah, especially when, that's a Graves as well, so it gives a lot of value to the Braum pick, especially when Leona dives in. The Braum can block the MF damage while you target Leona, of course, right? So it's really good against these Aftershock supports. Or do they want to match with some kind of jungler here or a solo laner, maybe Odoamne's Rumble, maybe Inspired? Nope, it's going to be Braum.
And on the side for Cloud9, that means that it's easy for Rogue now to throw multiple bans at Perkz to try and protect the early Ryze pick.
Yep.
They know that Perkz is going to go for some sort of big AP, mid lane carry here for Cloud9 since it's already, Graves lock in here, very heavy in AD. And there's not as many great APs for Blaber to play, especially with his champion pool. You definitely think of him much more on these AD junglers early priority.
Yeah, definitely agree. I'm looking at champs like LeBlanc. I was also thinking champs like Zoe, right? You're playing Draven, Ryze, Braum, not that much engaged, more side lane, short range champions. Things like Zoe could do a lot of damage against those champs, Syndra as well. So we'll have to see what Perkz does opt into.
I wonder too, if he eats another ban here for mid lane, do they actually pull something as deep as the Cassiopeia out into the Ryze? Fairly old, but also has decent play into Draven.
And I think when you have a Cassio and a Graves on the same composition, what initially looked like a very scary first trio from Rogue can't be heavily mitigated. Smokescreen is super, super oppressive. The Miasma is super oppressive. You would be matching close range firepower with close range firepower. But do they go for opting to outrange? The Syndra, one of those longer range champions. Zoe, what Kadril highlighted earlier, I think still something worth considering because maybe you just never need to get in touching distance of this Rogue composition.
Meanwhile, Rogue, they're probably looking to go one of two directions. Either invest more into some split pushing power or find some hard engage for themselves. Because Braum is great defensively and very strong for team fights, but not great for the initial engagement, trying to actually get initiative when you want to start one of those fights out.
Yeah, and I really wonder what Odo will go for because now Rumble's taken away. I think the best jungle pick now for Rogue is probably something along the lines of Xin Zhao that pairs well with the Ryze, good setup, and best skirmishing jungler available right now. You have to argue with Lee Sin down and Jarvan just kind of covering the misfortune.
Plus, it's so good at creating space. One of the reasons why Xin has not fallen out of the meta, even with the slight nerfs to the early game, is the ultimate that you can create so much space for.
Okay.
This is a much more offensive look.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought Xin Zhao Braum would be a good pairing together with the Draven Ryze. It's all short range and buys a lot of time, but no, let's throw some kind of wild card in it with the Qiyana, which has so much burst damage that can catch anyone out.
Plus, it's a really good denial for Blaber. Cloud9 have clearly invested a lot of time, at least in scrims, in the Qiyana jungle, combinations for Blaber. So stealing that one away from him.
Uh-oh, there was an Olaf hover. Maybe we get an Olaf, but if this Irelia does get locked in, we need AP junglers, and there's a Lillia picked up for Blaber. So they're running double AD solo laners. Blaber is the only AP damage left on the team, and now it's up to Odoamne what he wants to counterpick these solo lanes with.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting here for Lillia. I'm not quite a big fan of the current state of the champion. I know Freak is super enamored with it, but
Malphite! Malphite!
It does have, more sustain now through the jungle, a bit more clear as well. Let's see what the final lock-in on the top side, though, with the Gwen. This is one of my personal favorites right now with, how popular Misfortune has gotten. It just feels so nice of any frontliner to be able to avoid the big ultimates. It makes you move so much more freely through some of the team fights.
Absolutely, and I think when you look at it between the Gwen and the Braum, it's going to be so hard for Zven to find that really clean setup. The good news is, we got to mention this combo every time there's a sleep in the game, sleep, MF ult. There is a world where Cloud9 can set up this combo, can remove a lot of that interactivity, but generally, outside of surviving the bot lane, outside of weathering the storm of this Hansama Draven with these new ult buffs, I'm looking at the top side of the map. This is going to be explosive.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Irelia pick into mid lane and towards the Ryze, because that one as well, if I'm a jungler, your eyes just get real big when you see volatile lanes like this with a melee matchup in mid lane where Irelia does rely on kill pressure, but the Ryze can set them up as well early on. So oftentimes it is going to be about who controls their vision around mid lane better, keeps the supports out of the equation, and can get those early ganks off.
Yeah, definitely. If you're looking at both comps, mid lane is definitely the point of contention for both these teams. Junglers are going to focus mid. And then if you look at side lanes, C9 should have top push. Graves into Gwen, early top push, but Rogue should have bot push. So both these sides collapsing towards mid could be very important to give vision or to provide some assistance in these setups.
Absolutely. And remember, this is not a calm week 1 game. This is not either of these teams feeling each other out. This is not the
this
fun.
is must win!
This is do or die. For remember, Rogue, if they lose here, they might still have another chance. It's going to be a difficult road and it takes some crazy results to happen. But Cloud9, you lose, you are out of contention.
It's that simple.
Deep breaths all around here, everybody. Breathe it in. Nice calm opening to the game.
The calm.
Oh, the Lillia's rolling with Conqueror. Blaber went with Conqueror. I've seen Lilia's go Predator and Phase Rush, but he's actually going for the Conqueror. Maybe it's because Rogue have 3 melee champs. He thinks he can proc it the short range. Oh no, Blaber. We've seen him die level 1 earlier in this tournament.
Come on, man.
It was.
We have seen that. That's true.
It wasn't against. I think it was against Damwon when he died level 1 and then his top lane was really struggling.
Yeah, well, the problem is you make it sound like it's a regular occurrence when you say things like that. Like, oh, it's the iconic level 1 Blaber death.
It's just he doesn't even know. You know, Pepe Laugh. He doesn't even know there's 5 people just standing right there.
This is a player that really values entertainment value. Okay, you know, there's a lot of high points. You build to these crescendos in the game very early on.
Yeah.
You know, is he going to die level 1? Is he going to die at the second crab, the first crab? You know,
just keep checking the boxes.
Yeah. All I'll say is we had a nice long discussion about Olaf Brain, and I just want to see how Lillia Brain stacks up to Olaf Brain. That's my big question, because I see the high highs, the dreams of multi-target sleeps. You know, you've got these kind of tank burning damage and sustain package, and maybe, a cheeky level 1.
But look at Rogue as well. They have a level 1. Draven Braum level 1 is incredibly strong. Blaber gets spotted out on Raptor, so now they can move to red. The problem is, Blaber will be on Raptors in their eyes, but they're going to see him now. 2v3, level 1.
Braum passive, ludicrously oppressive in the first few levels, and Draven level 1 with Halo Blades also very, very strong. C9 smartly just going to walk away here.
A lot of times when you get invaded like this, you should, especially if you're a big AoE champ like Lillia, just immediately go for Raptors, try and get the level 2 advantage so you can punish them afterwards.
Uh-oh. Come down to a smite battle. Perkz and Larssen.
Who's going to win this fight?
Irelia lost the stacks. Who got it? Blaber managed to get it. Trymbi's getting burned down. It's disastrous for Rogue. Now the flash forward for Perkz. He's got the reset, the 2 stacks. On top of flash out. Blaber's not done, baby. Proc that Conqueror. Spin it in. Coming in. Knocking down. Goodbye to the Draven. Hello, C9.
Okay, yeah, we have seen Blaber die at level 1 Kjo. We have also seen them run away with it. This counter on the red buff here, it comes down to 61 health inside the brush, the early smite from Inspired. And these level 1 invades, they all depend on which jungler is getting the smite, getting the level 2.
Yeah, the thing is, it was a 50-50 because Rogue saw Blaber go to Raptors. Blaber was starting the Raptors on purpose to force Rogue to do the red. He got his passive stacked up, he ran down, won the 50-50. Now, Qiyana level 1 is terrible. The clear without a leash is awful. If we could put the camera on Inspired right now, he's almost dead, has no potions, and just has smite up, and he's level 2. Blaber ran through mid after doing red Raptors, and he's taking his top side. Inspired is going to be so far behind.
Yeah, I love how the observers overruled you, and they're like, well, guess what? The Qiyana's also losing the red quadrant of the jungle.
Saj.
Yeah, the Draven's also losing.
Look at his HP, he has no potions.
No.
Can he even do Grump? I'm not sure.
So this is a good time to talk about our first talking point supported by Graphical Aid. Blaber versus Inspired. Never mind. 5G Ultimate, we'll get there, Verizon, don't worry. But Blaber versus Inspired, these guys a bit all over the place across the group stage so far. But you can see that Blaber a little bit more active, Inspired a little bit more farm heavy. And sadly for Inspired, it seems like he's just going to have to be the one who's more farm heavy.
Sometimes it can be very frustrating as a jungler who's on the winning end of this because you are taking away all options from Inspired, but he can be forced into GameStop.
Wait, Blaber's dead. He's dead.
No! Oh my!
What just happened?
Kobe, you called it. He's here for the drama. He's here for the entertainment. Blaber again, and he taketh away. Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
At least he's changed up his arsenal
can't
from
even-
MSI, right? MSI was a crap. Now we've seen level 1 red buff and now top dive.
This is a very serious high stakes game.
I'm glad I'm here with you boys for this, but honestly, what are we watching?
He's gonna lose top crap as well.
Okay, so it's kind of feels okay to laugh at because nobody got the kill gold, but in light of Inspired now catching up in the jungle, it doesn't feel as funny for Cloud9 fans.
It definitely feels good for Inspired, because I was about to bring up the point where you've already been denied 3 quadrants of the map. He's so far behind, and yet he has no health to do any camps except scuttle crabs. and
look at Odo, he got a lot of XP from that. Yes, he didn't get a kill, but he got the XP for the kill, I believe. So he's just naturally been given more XP in the top lane.
First, remember a big part of the win conditions here for Rogue are the scaling options. Ryze and Gwen scale like monsters. These AP threats for the side lanes. Gwen can also be a very effective team fighter later on too. So any help in scaling towards these champions definitely changes the way that we're looking at the early game.
And got this coming in from the Verizon 5G all chat. Mr. Sillyhead, fantastic name. Long have we waited. C903 looking faded. Group A overstated. Miracle Run activated.
I like it. Oh.
Blaber Tower Death also activated, but Perkz little outplays here is going to try to find something. Firing back though, passive fully stacked. Blaber in the area. Irelia with a deceptively large amount of sustain if you can get a few more Qs in here, but it's just going to be a trade back and forth for Poke. Blaber hovering around to make sure that they can't fully lose out here on the sky.
Oh my.
Perkz playing
They're playing with fire. What is happening?
He's not trading. 1-for-1. Outplayed. Larssen now running away from the Lillia, but the Lillia's Pot Conqueror, and they're going to absolutely murder him. No, they're backing away from each other. What?
I, for one, am so surprised that the West didn't win any games yesterday with plays like this. Let's go. The kills traded back and forth at the tower.
I mean, the only real thing I can say behind that is maybe Perkz was trying to bait them into some kind of dive with his W, because he held it for so long, and then when they commit, they're TP behind both.
Behind. If Hansama gets a kill here, it's going to be big. He's got a few stacks under his belt. That's going to be looking for 3 and 4 on the concussive blow stacks. That should be Zven going down. Vulcan, there's nothing he can do on the Leona. Zven is going to now not make it out, just barely. Vulcan now getting burned down, taking so much damage going down, and Hansama wants to trade 1 kill back. Hansama cashing in.
This is huge for Rogue, as we mentioned in the setup, as we refocus on some of the champion select and where they wanted to play the game from without all the craziness.
Yeah.
Remember the whole game plan for the Red Invade. This was all based off of Rogue trying to set up for bottom side focus. And with all this craziness, it's actually good that they have retained that focus. Okay, back to the Draven. Get some shutdowns here for Hans.
So let's go back to the mid play, because Perkz didn't have stun because he used it to peel onto Inspired. He Qs away, so now Blaber's running away. I think Larssen's waiting for his W and they want to crash the wave. But then Perkz goes back in here.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have his stun up just yet, I believe, but he has his W. So when Inspired goes in, he saves it for now. I wonder if he's trying to bait some kind of dive because Inspired has no flash. In the end, it's just a 1-for-1.
Yeah, and it is interesting, you know, the extra kill gold actually goes over to Blaber, so didn't go into the hands of Perkz, so not the worst thing there for him trading over.
Also, C9 still up in gold, 1k gold lead, and Blaber is still ahead in XP despite dying, and he's level 6.
Braum caught out. They can try to mitigate this stun, but there's just too many people there. Trymbi, you're in enemy territory, buddy. I know it looks like you're jungle, but Cloud9 showing up and taking him out. Now Hansama is going to be in trouble because they can go for an easy dive here on the Draven. He has flash, he has cleanse, he's got stand aside.
It's 4 versus 1. He needs to make sure this wave doesn't crash. He has to play aggressive in the 1v1 and hold the wave. If this goes under tower, Hans is dead. He has summoners for the outplay. Vulcan's tanking.
Anyway. Vulcan can now go forward. He can cleanse and try to flash his way out, but he's accepted his death. Zven going to grab that kill as well, moving for some tower plates too. This is disastrous for Rogue.
The other side of the map that Rogue now have the extra numbers on is top side, so Fudge has to know that he's the one under attack here. Larssen missing from mid. They have to assume that it's going to be a big dive.
No more. Fudge now running. Just flash. Ulti now coming out, flashing out. Smoke screen doing so much work there, mitigating a lot of the damage, but it's still an easy dive for Rogue.
Yeah, good cross map by Rogue, but it feels like C9 are the ones in the driver's seat. You can see Perkz running back out on the map. They should have the aggression down towards the bot side soon, because you can see the vision they already have is established, and Hans is behind on the Draven. A kill top is great for Rogue, but C9's main win condition is to shut down Hans on the Draven.
And I'm kind of revisiting the gold allocation where a lot of these early kills have gone. Since Blaber is the single AP threat for Cloud9, you know, a lot of the money being fed into him, it actually will do a decent amount for their team fight phase as well.
Yeah, look at this. C9 still have the vision towards the bot side. Perkz can just fast push mid waves and they can keep hovering down. So Hans, luckily he did save his summoners, but he might have to use them here.
Hansama gonna have to run for the hills here. Sidestep and immediately gonna get locked up. Trymbi is gonna have to run. He's gonna hide in the bush, tail between his legs. Nothing he can do to save his AD carry. Cloud9 are merciless on the bottom side. You called it out, Kobe. They see it. You want to play through bottom, we're gonna throw all our advantages there to make sure it cannot happen.
And there's always a seesaw effect in League of Legends. When you commit 4 people down bottom, of course top side of the map has to be victories for Rogue. They have to trade the other objectives up there. So immediate start on the Rift Herald there from Inspired. They will pick that one up. It's still a super beneficial focus from Cloud9. Another successful play on bottom side means more turret plates for Zven, more jungle invades from Blaber.
And deja vu there as Trymbi walks past Blaber on the Wolves. Blaber's taken Inspired's bot side respawn 2 times now, so he's getting really far ahead. Will almost be 2 levels up, I think. Zven has gotten almost 4 plates in bot lane. Look at the cross-map trade. Rogue haven't even got at a single plate top. They've only killed Fudge once.
And the thing is, you have to be so scared already of the very fed Irelia and the very fed Lillia. Not a word I expected to be saying today, or phrase. But on top of that, Zven is also really far ahead of Hans, and if you ever misplay with Braum in a team fight, that ultimate is just going to shred through Rogue.
Definitely true, and I like how you brought up the synergies between the Lillia and Misfortune.
Odo? He has no flash.
Darkness.
They've got eyes on him.
Go for the auto. Can leap over the wall, but Perkz is in the area. Has already burned the W2. He's going to go to sleep. Good night. Odoamne just going to get burned down. Rogue are falling apart. Cloud9 are just finding picks left and right.
Yeah, and I have to give massive credit to Perkz this game. He's practically everywhere. He's up 2 CS, yes, but he was diving bot twice, and now he's on the top side of the map. Him and Vulcan are just moving up and down the river so well, and him and Blaber have 100% kill participation.
Exactly, and I love the key point there because so many people, us including, love to meme on Blaber from some of the big plays of dying early or getting caught in jungle, but he also has those high highs. Very aggressive, following up on the early invade and the lead that he got. Definitely has had a very good direction for Cloud9 here, and they've snowballed that early lead with very big returns.
And I think it's so important when you outplay in the level 1, when you find those early advantages, that you make good on them, that you are the player to step up and carry your team, and Blaber is certainly in that position. 100% kill participation has been everywhere. And yes, people will look at the tower dive and meet him, but ultimately, as long as you win this game, people will look back at this and know that Blaber and Perkz together are the reason that Cloud9 came out on top.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Rogue try to hover around bot side there. Hans got 2 plates. They didn't drop the Herald because they ran out of time. But they're finding resources in bots, but now C9 are back on the map. Perkz is coming back on the map. I think C9 are going to go back towards the bot side and keep playing down here.
One of the metrics as well that's incredibly important to try and judge teams by for can they make good comeback attempts here in the mid stages is vision, and Perkz walks right through it.
Larssen. Stun going to connect initially. Trymbi is in the area, but all of Cloud9 now collapsing. They have a man advantage. Trymbi has the flash for his life, but it looks like he's still going to go down. Can't even proc his own passive onto Perkz. Now pushing forward. Blaber in the area. Blaber no ulti up and available, but can go for the big play. Inspired now trying to find the disengage, but he's already used ultimate, and that just means they can keep the fight going. Cloud9, they're getting so much in exchange for so little. The stun, they want to keep it going. It's a party on the top side. Rogue, we're not a fan of this one. Some unwanted guests.
Yeah, we thought they'd go down towards the bot side, but this mid-jungle support duo of C9 is absolutely everywhere. Trymbi and Larssen were only 2-man. Maybe they're looking for a dive. They have no wave.
Sleepy but invisible. That's going to be big. Does manage to lock Inspired up for a brief moment, but can't really follow up there. Perkz now clearing the wave. They can reset for the tower dive. A bit difficult for Graves normally. Odoamne now using the ult to try and clear, leaping forward. Trying to block as much as he can. Inspired again in the darkness, but he is going to fall, trying to get at least 1 kill back. In the meantime, Cloud9 get away with everything. Perkz blocking the last tower shot.
Gentlemen, you are witnessing domination from the side of Cloud9. This is patented map surfing, we like to call it. Plays on bottom side successful, plays in mid lane successful, chasing all the way up through top side as well. They have been running over this entire map, constantly forcing these plays. Proactive engages here, following up once again. Blaber moving down to Zven to allow him to pick up the extra wave. In addition to all these kills, they've also been handling their side waves quite well. One thing worth mentioning there is Zven catching a lot of them. Misfortune Ultimate is such a good tool, yes, for team fights later, but also for getting, these 30-second windows where you can ult a wave bottom, move up to mid, catch that as well.
Absolutely. And Hans Sama, who we expected to be this big focus point for Rogue, the one player who has shown through for Rogue in every single game, has not existed in this one.
Yeah, look at this. It's the mid support looking for a pick together. Inspired was clearing a camp up towards the top side or getting some deep vision for the team, and they're 2-manning a play where Blaber and Vulcan are matching, so it's a 3v2 initially. Fudge has dropped top wave completely just to make sure he's here. He eat over the blue buff wall, and now there are 4-man units. Rogue are so split, and C9 just played this perfectly.
And look at the minimap, because all the kills on screen are one thing, but when we refocus on their objective focus, that minimap had Zven rotating up from bottom side. He pushes that wave up into mid. He even got a turret plate while they're getting all of these kills, plus then the top side getting those bonus ones as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you highlighted that, Kobe, because what C9 are doing is they're transitioning pressure so well. They have bot push, they invade bot, they get a pick. They translate that to mid push, then they translate both to top. Here goes Rogue.
Up. Fudge should be just stunned up here and taken down. Should be an easy kill pickup. Ulti coming across the backside. Can they give it to Draven? Waiting, but will not be able to give it over. Shutdown important there. Cloud9 on the opposite side will match the tower and a dragon of their own.
Definitely a good play there from Rogue. I thought Fudge was about to walk a little bit forward and hit over for the execute, but he critically does not. Definitely what Rogue want to do, though, trade different sides of the map. They're completely out-itemized right now because there's such a heavy gold lead. So that was basically best case scenario for them, getting the trade on towers plus a kill.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're behind, especially like 5k gold down almost, trading evenly is always good for the losing team, right? Rogue trade towers, they trade a kill for a dragon. So in the end, when it's a first dragon, we'll take those, right, Rogue? It's an even trade, but C9 needs to make sure they're forcing more. They need to play on more lanes. Now you'll see C9 play mid to top. They've got top tier 1 and mid tier 1 as their next point of contentions with this next Herald coming up, and that's where they're going to be focusing. Rogue will start to lose out on these cross maps the longer the game goes, though.
An incredible credit to C9 for having such a dominant early game from the level 1, punishing Rogue, transitioning that across the map, some incredible plays, and that's right. This is where we now evaluate them, because remember, while this is an elimination game, if C9 want to make it out, they have to keep winning, which means we need to not just see a good early game, we need to see a flawless mid game, we need to see a clean win if they want to make it out of this group, if they want to contest FPX as the second seed.
Yeah, because usually when you see the team that has such a heavy lead in map control, they basically set up taxes for any sort of trades that go on. They're like, okay, fine. If you want to push on top tower, then we're going to get, bottom side as well as your whole jungle, as well as, possibly a dragon or objective or something like that. So when you can get those even ones, it's a very big one. You see C9 overloading on top side. Meanwhile, they already pushed on bottom side as well, so you don't get that, even throw back there from Rogue. Here's the sweep around, though.
You're completely right, though. Perkz pushed in bot, as we saw on screen, and he's moving mid now. C9 going aggressive.
Knocked down. Do they know the MF is coming? If he uses the W too soon, the MF all now coming down. Can they make it out of this one? Blaber now stepping forward. Ulti is going to go in onto the Gwen. She should be all right. Healing up. Will be fine and walk away. Vulcan going down there in the end.
Yeah, confusing play from C9, I have to admit. Maybe they didn't expect that many members of Rogue being there. They had the tower. All they had to do was push the wave in and go to Herald, take Herald, and Herald mid. That's 3 out the tower straight away. In the end, they do lose a member. It's not going to be the end of the world. Vulcan does die. 1 pick for Rogue, but again, the cross-map trade. We talked about 2 lanes they're playing on. Top and mid, that's going to be 2 tier 1 soon. Maybe Larssen can trade for this bot tier 1, but Perkz has been moving around the map beautifully.
Yeah, definitely the setup has been really clean there from Cloud9. You mentioned the multiple objective victories, and yet when you are in this position, you can't help but start to count these little pieces that you're throwing over. Kill here, kill there does add up as far as comeback potential. And if we refocus on the composition from Rogue, they do have some very high damage output outs for later in the game. If they can enact a split push, you've got your scaling Gwen, scaling Ryze, and Qiyana has plenty of burst damage to try to set up picks.
And we saw that against FPX, right? Perkz was the one who was really far ahead on the Ryze. He can match absolutely anyone. The problem is he was over pushing sides, getting collapsed on while his team wasn't on the map to actually do anything. This time around, instead of forcing a bot tier 2 or trying to dive Larssen, push out bot bases, moves mid. He's covering plays that C9 could lose out on while they make plays on the other side of the map, instead of playing as an individual.
Certainly what you want to see, again, development coming into week 2. Because remember, this is not the week 2 of old where you have an actual week to prepare. They've had 24, 48 hours to find their footing, and to immediately play an elimination game as your first game of the day is incredibly difficult.
As a North American fan for every year of competitive play, I'm happy to hear that this is not the week 2 of old, because that has never gone well for us.
Can I just say, C9 is playing beautifully, right? No one's top, they're dropping top side, they pushed in mid, moved bot, this is a tier 2. Now they can move back to mid and take the tier 1 mid. Like, they're playing on 2 lanes so well, whereas look at top side for Rogue. They just pushed in a wave. That's all C9 have lost.
Yeah, they've done such a good job this game of snowballing off of that early lead. And again, as we've set up so many times, with moving immediately back out onto the map to the other side to then set up your next objective. And then they're able to chain these, pushing out the wave, rotating over so that they can keep pressure on multiple lanes.
And the thing is, at this stage of the game, even if Cloud9 don't play flawlessly, they're so far ahead that they're going to find so much leeway in plays. And I expect them to play well, don't get me wrong, but Perkz is already 2 items, it's 18 minutes. You know what I mean? He can make a mistake and still probably win a 2v1. The same might even be true for Blaber. Already completing the Mythic, already completing the Zhonya's. It's going to be so hard for anyone on the side of Rogue to find these picks or get these big shutdowns.
Especially when you're kind of face-checking with 3 melee champs and 2 short-range champs into Lillia, Leona, MF. It's going to hurt.
The thing is for Cloud9 too, today they have to remain so focused, not just through the end of this game, but then they match up versus FPX right after it as well, and will need to continue to win games, continue to play cleanly through all stages if they want to make that miracle comeback.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first step to a miracle to get that comeback, like you said. And Fudge was pushing in top there. You could see Trymbi moving up, Inspire moving up. He obviously started to back off Fudge, but he needs to not get caught here because they're playing bot side. He's playing with fire a bit here, trying to take away his own Braum. But look at bot push for Perkz. Drake's coming up soon. Mid tower should be a free objective for them. His job here is just to use his ult on this wave, maybe just QR it and make sure Rogue can't push.
Rogue not even feeling confident enough to go for a dive or try to force there. Of course, creeps quickly deleted, and now it's just going to be pretty much a free dragon. Rogue trying to contest that feels like it just would not be a winning proposition. Is now mid lane is also opened up on top of the dragon. We talked about slightly unfavorable trades being Cloud9's goal, even trades being Rogue's goal, but now it just feels like everything is hugely favored in Cloud9.
Well, yeah, and the problem for Rogue here is that since Cloud9 have the advantage, they get to decide which side of the map they want to control, and the objective timers are desynced. Dragon is up. There's nothing on the top side for Rogue to get, so there's nothing for you to try and force a trade on. You can see at tower, all Fudge has to do on Graves, you know, one of the reasons it's so highly prized, very versatile, wave clear is there, and Cloud9 don't have to overcommit any resources to pick up Dragon number 2, I mean, because it would be so crazy for Rogue to try and walk through all of the enemy vision.
Yeah, definitely. The game's in C9's hands now. We've said that before against FPX and Rogue. The only real way you can think of a comeback is doing what FPX did. You know, Ryze ult the side lane when Perkz is pushing up with Odoamne there and look for the 1v2. Like you said, Dracos, maybe there's a chance he can win that 1v2. Maybe there's a chance Fudge can TP in. C9 just needs to control the top side of the map right now, and it's all about Rogue just being reactive.
And one of the critical things for Cloud9 to keep in mind as they're trying to push in these waves and then set up their control around the Baron side of the map, now that Dragon is down and Baron is up, you have to move your vision there first. Because if Rogue are able to push out on the side and then get one of those picks, you know, Qiyana burst damage and plenty of setup there, that's where the gold starts to leak away and those comeback options start to grow. As you can see, good toggle there by the observers. Cloud9 have done just that. They're moving all of their vision over to the red quadrant behind the Baron, try and deny Rogue any of these opportunities.
Love the slow, controlled setup. Again, Cloud9 don't need to risk anything here, so playing it out diligently, so crucial to make sure they can close it. Because again, for Rogue, you're waiting for that mistake. You're waiting maybe for too many people to group in a Dragon Pit or a Baron Pit, so Inspired can get that perfect ulti. We've seen a lot of games where it's come down to maybe disrespecting some of these big AoE teamfight ultimates that can be the game changer. But that said, hyperscaling was one of the things we brought up initially. Feels hard to really sell it at this point when the Irelia is building towards Wit's End already, third item, but there is always a world where Ryze, yes, short range, Gwen, yes, short range, but can be monsters that can take over these skirmishes or fights.
Yeah, definitely. C9 just trying to push Rogue out of the top side for now. The problem they have, C9, is their Baron is not that quick and there's not that many people to tank it, right? So if they just commit to a full Baron, it's very hard to stop Rogue from entering because they don't have as much turn unless they have Leona kind of out of the pit. But then you might struggle. So Rogue are starting to build towards these 2 items. The problem is they're losing all 3 lanes. C9 just need to not overextend for a tier 2 and look for some kind of random 5-man siege.
That turn is exactly what I'm looking at, because you mentioned the Leona and the Lillia, and one of the big things for late game Lillia that I always like to do is try and set up your wards so that you have long corridors to throw the seeds down. The Swirl Seed has a decently low cooldown now. That was one of the buffs to the champion. So towards late game, you just kind of go fishing and see if you can tag somebody to set up one of your ultimate combos.
Go fishing.
Exactly. You go fishing with your seeds. If you tag somebody,
oh, we got a bite.
You put them to sleep and Misfortune ults over while everybody else collapses. All of that damage and the long range of Leona ultimate does mean you can reel that fish in.
As long as it's not a 10-man sleep.
Exactly. You have to have the follow-up.
Oh, Inspired! There we go, Inspired right into the wall. That's going to be 3 members locked up. Instant wombo combo. Vulcan going to get shredded down, but Zven on the backside. Huge damage back. That Braum was useless. Larssen, can they turn it back though? Fudge now in the midst of the fight. So much healing, so much sustain, but Rogue finally finding some kind of opportunity. Odoamne will be sacrificed, but it's something positive for Rogue.
Oh, Inspired found one window of opportunity in their own vision for a 3-man ult. The problem was the Draven ult didn't connect as much because of the stopwatches. The Braum follow-up was a slightly bit too late, and then Zven just took over that fight.
Yep, you can see it in Rogue's eyes. They're just waiting for some opportunity to jump on for a comeback. And so they take one of the risky plays to try and find this pick. But Cloud9, huge victory here. Very good punish. You see the flashes over to disengage there, and they're able to turn around. Reward is a Baron, which pushes ahead, the way that they can end this game so quickly.
Yeah, and as we see in the new Axe Effect replay, Inspire just pulls the trigger instantly. Stopwatch comes out from Blaber though, and then Zven on the backline. Yes, Trymbi has to stop the barrier up, but it just eventually runs out of time. He stopwatches, Hans is against Perkz. He has to flash out. Odoamne TP's in, but there's really not much he can do here to save the fight. He's won before, and he ends up falling too.
Yeah, the Irelia, there's a reason why you kept on bringing up every kill that went to the Irelia on in the early game. she gets so tanky later on that you can zone these entire team fights. Gets to split, basically, the lines of Rogue and break up that combo. You know, you said forcing the flash there out of Hans, and since they burst down Inspired after his ultimate, no more damage left.
And it's so sad for Rogue, because you feel like now that the Baron has gone over to C9, that was maybe your one window of opportunity to find a pick before this game was well and truly out of your hands, and now it is firmly, if it wasn't already, in control of C9. 9K gold lead, double Drake.
Sales of Hopium are skyrocketing, Dracos. You better buy some quick because
invest in C9. This is the time. Buy low, sell high, folks. That's what it is. C9 were low coming into the day, and C9 fans certainly feeling good right now.
Now they're high?
Yeah, now they're definitely high. Rogue fans feeling low, but now maybe a pick. Fudge caught off guard. Unbreakable already used, though, means Zven again can just set up his ultimate and murder everybody. Perkz on the backside. Cloud9 aren't messing around. They don't want to slow siege. They want to absolutely throttle Rogue. It's just running them down. Onsama, no room to maneuver. Perkz gonna let him go, but it's out into enemy territory. Has to walk away from his own base just to get in on this one. And Cloud9, complete dominance from the level 1, snowballing it cleanly through, and now the Baron feels like the final nail in the coffin.
This keeps the group interesting, my friends. Cloud9 with one of the necessary wins here.
Yeah, Rogue had no wave clear, so they tried to get the fight. C9 just dived them. They take the win. 25-minute win for C9 over Rogue. They're looking for some KDA here, just trying to get some damage dealt, farm some numbers before they close out. That's a massive win for C9. Backs against the wall, you lose your out, they win the game. But now they still got a long road ahead of them.
And I think we have to take a second now to appreciate everything that C9 did well in that game, because in 5 minutes, the only thing they're going to get to think about is FPX, the opponent that stands in front of them. So for now, what we can say is Rogue, they made a mistake at level 1. Cloud9 absolutely outplayed, punished, moved across the map. Yes, Blaber did die to a tower, but let me tell you, Rogue died a lot more in that one.
Exactly, and that was one of the few, if only your real big kind of egregious errors that they made. One of the main things I was looking at with the critical eye coming into the day, to have hope for that miracle run for Cloud9, was specifically coordination on their mid and late game plays. And that control as far as the vision game and not overreaching too far, then immediately collapsing and turning around these fights is exactly what you need to see if they're going to come back today.
Yeah, their communication looked great from start to finish. You
Much better than
much
the early
better, right? Yeah, they get ahead, they snowball the lead perfectly. Yes, Rogue did the fight, they got Baron, and then they just went for the dives, but the mid game was just phenomenal. The early game as well, moving around the map.
It's a good sign when the Oopsie is not diving over the red wall and getting double killed immediately, but the Oopsie is dying to tower for no money and then hard stomp.
And then a quick death timer.
Man,
back up the top side.
They didn't even touch him.
It was a confidence play. He was just flexing. It's like emo BM, no, dying to tower BM. That's the new meta. As we go to a break, let's listen in to the last time Rogue and C9 faced off in Sounds of the Game, presented by Bose.
We can MF. This is good, play slow, we'll catch everyone.
I can flash here. Okay, they buff.
We can win this.
I'm ulting there.
Okay,
yeah.
I will there.
They all die.
They're here. They're TP with Nar, go to Nar.
Silence is here. Just kill the TP,
Kill the Nar.
He has flash, he wants to flash.
Don't worry, he cannot. Go Nash.
Nice.
Holy flanking
Nice
army.
tsunami.
Someone pushed up, I think, already.
Okay. I can ult the Nexus, I'm ulting the Nexus.
Guys, it's really huge. I'm ulting there.
I'm not in anymore.
Just careful, Silas.
Just reset the fight. Play with me. Yeah, chill. We answer.
Yeah.
Nice, guys. EU hope. EU hope.
EU lost hope, I guess.
EU hope.
I'm joking. Well played, guys.
EU hope.
KD. Can we get some KDA in the chatters? Okay, GG.
Oh yes, the king of the jungle. Time for a quick Red Bull?
Red Bull? But you still won't be quicker than the lion.
I don't have to be quicker than the lion, just quicker than you.
Red Bull gives you wings. So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last line. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last line. Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Cloud9 stay alive at Worlds 2021, but it's once again do or die in this next game. They are up against Fun plus Phoenix. But let's focus on the positive for now.
yeah.
And also in terms of the group, no teams are eliminated. However, Rogue's loss does mean that Dauma and Kia are locked in as the first seed from Group A. And for the rest, now both teams are really up against it. But let's highlight, what went well here for C9 in this incredible early game. Starting from the draft, though, we didn't know the level 1 was going to happen, or maybe we did. Raz, what did you make of the plan they crafted versus Rogue this time around?
This time around, this kind of is a different take, but the same idea that Cloud9 had in the first few days, which is just a 1-3-1 composition, playing towards Irelia and the Graves in this case on side lanes. That was the intent. They had the Soul AP from Lillia, so getting gold on the Lillia was going to be super valuable. So then the resistances would be hard. It would be, you have to split it if you're on Rogue's side as the game went on.
I also feel like when you look at Cloud9's draft, it's just like been the meta draft throughout the tournament so far of you go for your bot lane 1-2, you get one strong soul laner, typically it's been LeBlanc or Graves, and then you get counter pick on jungle on blue side, which has shown you can make such a strong mid-jungle 2v2 to impact side lanes, and that's what Cloud9 did all game long.
And the TLDR from the Rogue side is also that, they recognize that Hans Sama was a very good, strong point for them in the games that they lost. So they say, okay, let's give him the priority with the Draven. But that influences so much of what we're going to see in this early game and the priorities. Raz, break down this level 1 from both sides.
Oh, baby, because when I see this level 1 coming in, I can understand it from Rogue's perspective. They have the Braum. They also have the Draven, so from their perspective, they should be able to deal with anybody front to back.
They're hitting the ward.
Yeah, so when they actually want to pull red, my biggest concern is just simply how much damage Trymbi's taking here. The goal for Blaber is that he wants to be able to reach level 2 as quickly as possible, but they're starting to burn red down as quickly to pull Blaber in soon. Just take a look, gets ignited, the Braum gets bursted, Trymbi takes down a lot of DPS, so then once you just instantly lose Trymbi here, Perkz is able to get first push here too, so it's actually a numbers advantage instantly for C9.
And the question then is, do you as Rogue, are you supposed to just pull the trigger, you invade, you see that they've got you covered on one side, just flash, cue someone to start instead of dragging it out and then losing the play from mid, it seems like?
I would have liked them, because they knew they were going to be on a bit of a timer, that they're going to have Larssen come in a little bit soon, but pull the red buff into the bush, start burning it, force one of them to at least like contest. It would be Leona to contest the bush so they can at least see vision on red, and then you get Braum to tag Leona. So that would be what I would have wanted. It didn't happen though.
You know, it's a high pressure situation, right? And I do love that we saw action from minute one. And then the question is, Lyric, how good can you translate that into the rest of the game if you are C9? The upper player of the game was Blaber, because C9, because of him, and I think because of the rest of the team as well, they were able to relay that into a huge gold lead straight off the bat.
Yeah, I really love the way that Blaber played this, because after they do win this level 1, he instantly goes cross maps into the enemy's red side jungle. He's stealing away all of Rogue's camps. And you know, there was a bit of a blunder up on top side, but it didn't matter. It didn't really set C9 behind. And we got to a point in mid game where we see Larssen go for this TP on bot side. Perkz elects to stay mid, pretty much gets this level advantage and always this prio mid, to where Blaber just keeps going mid first, invade enemy bot side jungle, go for the dive, and keep nailing down on this Rogue bottom lane.
Yeah, it seemed to be that Rogue was being read like a book. They were already behind, and you know that they want to put resources into the Draven, right? So C9 really just know what to do.
Exactly. This is another mistake that Trymbi ended up making. They had full vision that the C9 wanted to go into the blue side jungle, gets caught in this. And I think C9, what they do really good, what they're great at is being able to pull resources into Blaber. If he has a lead, he knows what to do with his advantage. So they constantly push for dives, and in this case, the Lillia got rolling.
Yeah, she did. Adorable. Let's now talk about, you know, what is here at stake for Cloud9. Of course, they want to make it to those quarterfinals. That means they now have to go directly into a match versus FPX, which is a direct elimination game. I want to pull up the draft of FPX versus C9 when we saw it in the first round robin, because the draft wasn't really the issue, right? I think we all agreed, Raz, that it was the late game decision making. What do you want to see from them for C9 to replicate that early game strength?
This one, there were multiple times in the late game with C9 is if they were getting pushed on side lane with Perkz, they weren't on top of Baron. They weren't forcing FPX in a difficult decision. And also, this was a pop-off game for Nuguri. Nuguri had a humongous advantage. Whenever he was alone on side with Perkz, it was Perkz actually getting solo killed. So if they ever have a situation like that, be willing to pull an extra member to get a kill there and then move towards Baron. Or if, once again, if Perkz is hitting inhibitor turret like he did at a certain point, before Misfortune came in and got the kill on top of him, start Baron and force FPX into a difficult decision. Be on the same page.
I also do feel like we've seen a complete different FPX since this draft happened, right? Because I know whenever we've talked about FPX, it's been a lot about draft, a lot about meta. Kjo's been hitting on it a ton of like the blind pick Jarvan coming through. It hasn't really been working. We haven't seen jungle later in the draft. And I think for FPX, that will be so crucial, because when you look at the game that just happened and all of FPX's games so far, it really feels like this game is going to be all about the mid-jungle 2v2. That's how Cloud9 just completely took over that last game. That's always been FPX's strength, and that's where we haven't been seeing them deliver. I don't want to see another Malzahar like last game. It was fine in the draft, but I don't think DoinB looked all too comfortable on it. Bring out another bruiser, bring out something that has more agency on the map, Raz.
100%. I think in this game, Nuguri saved them. They would have lost this game without what he was doing, a superhero performance. And it's just going to be a night and day look here, as you see, like a lightened up Perkz.
He's gesturing towards DoinB, I believe.
There you go, blowing kisses at each other.
I think it's just going to be a night and day look from FPX as a team.
Yes! Yes! This is the best.
This is what we need.
It's kind of what you want to see, right? You know, because it means you're not stressed. You're just blowing kisses to each other.
Exactly.
Fine. I like to see them so very relaxed, but there is so much at stake, I think, for FPX as well. You never want to lose a game to a Dom 1 in the first of the day and then continue to lose another game as an LPL representative, as an ex-world champion. And on the same vein for Cloud9, this is starting to come to the zenith of their year for everything that we've seen from them. And so many times when I've talked to all of you from the LCS, Raz, it's all about C9 can beat the best of the world, but they can also beat themselves, right?
Yes.
So what is kind of the core for C9 here to focus on to make sure that they can keep this day going?
What we just saw from the last game is what we kind of hit on at the top of the day, right? When we were talking about the goods and the bads of C9. When C9's at their worst, they're kind of on different pages. But what we saw was them trying to play around Blaber when he had advantage. Perfect. If this next game, if it's either Zven or Perkz, or hell, Fudge that has an advantage. Play towards them as a team. I just want to see them united.
I feel like the big thing on the opposite side for FPX, right, is that, like you said in their previous matchup, Nuguri was the one who had a pop-off game, 40+% of his team's damage, I believe.
Incredible.
During the last game, he was the one who got focused. He made one mistake, and then Dom1 just kept going on and on about it. So I'd love to see FPX put more resources up towards that top side, but at the same time, we can't see the same like 0-2 power spike Nuguri that we've been seeing.
Yeah, and Perkz still has a tab open with Doomby from way back when, so he definitely wants to get a win on the board versus Fun Plus Phoenix. And when we return, C9 take to the stage to step up against FPX in another must-win match for the LCS 3rd seed. Don't go anywhere.